Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Explainer. Look, today we're taking aim at one of the absolute biggest challenges we all face in the workplace, the looming, dreadful deadline. I mean, we all know that exact feeling, right? You're staring at a blinking cursor, feeling the crushing weight of a major project, and suddenly you decide that reorganizing your sock drawer or cleaning out your inbox is an absolute do-or-die emergency. Classic procrastination. But what if I told you that you could reliably tap into a psychological, high-performance state to not only crush that procrastination, but actually make the work feel entirely effortless? Today, we're demystifying the psychology of something called flow to help you completely transform how you approach your tightest workplace deadlines. To really wrap our heads around this, I want you to picture a scenario. Think about that typical Monday office mindset. Your brain is just sluggish, you're stressed out, you're weighed down by this endless mountain of tasks, and it just feels so heavy. But now, contrast that feeling. Imagine you're out for a run. You aren't thinking about the office at all. Your attention absolutely locks in. You feel the ground beneath your feet, you feel the rhythm of your breathing, you are completely 100% focused. And then, almost like magic, you realize you've been running for twice as long as you usually do, and you aren't even tired. That incredible shift in momentum, that feeling of total weightlessness, that is exactly the state we're looking to harness for your workday today.
Okay, let's dive into this. That amazing, effortless feeling on the run, you've just experienced what psychologists call flow. It's literally the ultimate zone of high performance. This whole concept was originally mapped out by the renowned psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, and he defined it really simply but so powerfully as being completely immersed in an activity. It's that rare, almost magical headspace where a physical or mental activity, whether you're playing a sport, painting, or doing deep cognitive work like writing a proposal, just completely takes over. So we're taking that awesome emotional high of the perfect run and applying the hard psychology of human performance to it.
And the craziest part? When you hit this state, time just vanishes. Poof, gone. And look, this isn't just some dry, academic theory. It is a deeply tangible, real physical feeling. Think about how incredible it feels when you finally sit down, you lock eyes with a complex spreadsheet, or you start drafting a really heavy quarterly report, and suddenly you look up at the clock and 3 whole hours have passed in what felt like maybe 30 minutes. You completely lose your sense of time because your brain is just firing on absolutely all cylinders for the task right in front of you. So how do you actually know when you're in it? Well, the research points to 6 very distinct signs. And as we go through these, I want you to think about how you can find this supreme calm right in the middle of your most chaotic workdays. First, it starts with absolute concentration and this really unusual clarity, like you know exactly what needs to be done. You also feel a very distinct sense of control. The task is tough, sure, but you are totally certain you're going to beat it. Add in a profound sense of internal satisfaction, this surprising wave of physical relaxation, and, of course, that total loss of time we just talked about. When all 6 of these align, you're basically untouchable. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we can actually weaponize this beautiful psychological concept against our absolute worst workplace enemy, procrastination. You see, we aren't just talking about flow for, Olympic athletes or master painters. We're talking about leveraging this precise psychological state to turn your most avoided, dreaded tasks into your absolute highest performing moments. We're bridging the gap between avoiding the work at all costs and becoming completely productively consumed by it.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how universal flow really is. I mean, it happens on the tennis court when you're executing perfect serves. It happens during late-night study sessions, where you're reviewing material with total confidence. It even happens when you finally crush that annoying household chore you've been putting off for weeks, and you think, wow, what was the big deal? But let's bring it back to the office, because this is where a really tough deadline can actually become your best ally. It usually starts with procrastination, right? Maybe you scrap a couple of drafts. But as that looming deadline increases the challenge, your brain locks in, the words literally start to flow, and suddenly that report is sitting on your boss's desk way earlier than you ever thought possible.
Which naturally brings us to the ultimate question. The really big one that everyone, especially busy professionals staring down massive workloads, wants the answer to. Is it possible to just turn on flow at will? Can you literally just flip a switch when you desperately need to meet a tight deadline? I kind of want to let that hang in the air for a second, because if we can figure out how to trigger this state on demand, it changes absolutely everything about how we work. Well, the answer is yes, but it requires what we can call a secret formula. Csikszentmihalyi explains in his research that flow doesn't just happen randomly by accident. It actually relies on a very specific ratio between the challenge of a task and your current skill level. Think of it as finding your productivity sweet spot. If the task is too easy, you're just bored out of your mind. If it's way too hard, you're instantly overwhelmed with anxiety. Flow lives right there in the middle.
So the crucial point is understanding the exact mechanics of triggering this state. Think of this as your personal blueprint to engineer flow for whatever project is on your desk right now. Step 1, find a manageable challenge. Step 2, and honestly, this is the real trick right here, elevate the stakes just enough to push yourself slightly outside your normal comfort zone. And finally, step 3, lock your focus entirely onto that one single task and absolutely nothing else for a set period of time. You have to hit that really delicate sweet spot where your skills are perfectly, comfortably stretched.
Which leaves us with this final thought for today. You now have the exact formula to move from sluggish Monday morning procrastination straight into a high-performance zone of deep focus. So the very next time you're staring down a project that you've been actively avoiding, don't just sit around waiting for inspiration to magically strike. Engineer it. How will you adjust the challenge of your very next looming deadline so that you hit that sweet spot, stretch your abilities, and actually find your flow? Take that secret formula, apply it to whatever is on your desk today, and just watch the time vanish. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.